What y'all doing? Y'all Good evening for a special Wednesday night edition of the Fanatic Sports Talk podcast. I am your man Blocker, the host with the most. And these two wonderful people that are with us tonight is Tera and Julius from The Covering. So shout out to y'all. Welcome to the Fanatic Sports podcast. I'm going to do my very best to be on my best behavior. I didn't even bring in any of my troublesome co-hosts tonight.
Wow. We wanted the troublesome co-host.
We want to keep the good behavior to a minimum. No. We talked about it off air, but I'll say it again on air as many times as I can, man. Thank y'all so much for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to have y'all with us, especially to talk a little bit about you guys' slogan, which was very, very exciting to see. You know, in a world, and I'll give my spiel and I'll get out of the way. But in a world where it seems like the rest of the world is making every effort they can to get away from taking care of and protecting the man, it's good to see someone who actually is working towards what I work on at church. What our men's ministry does at church all the time. We talk about the man. There was a men's conference a few years ago that was very, very eye-opening for me when I thought about it. The pastor said, my goal is to reach out to the men because the men bring the wives bring the children and that's how the church grows. And this is probably one of the biggest churches in New Orleans at Franklin Street Baptist Church. And so having that thought pattern became sort of the mantra for our men's ministry. So definitely a shout out to get to see you guys putting in the work. And then, especially a big special shout out to you, Tera, for being the founder of, putting the men in their place, which is outstanding. Love to see that from all women, but particularly Black women and people who look like us. So again, welcome everyone. Thank y'all so much for joining. So, all right, we won't delay too much. We'll start with, as we do with everyone, it's our fandom story. And so I see the 49er hat and the Cardinals jersey. So obviously you guys are sports fans, which is great. And in case anybody's watching, they are based out of St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, which I love to tell y'all a fantastic story about the last time I was in the Lou. And we'll have to do that off air because again, we behave. So, whichever one you wants to go first, give it any level, any sport. So your favorite Pee Wee high school team doesn't matter. Your favorite sport, your favorite team, and how you became a fan.
You want to go first?
All right, so I'll throw an eyeball. We're gonna start off with badminton.
Badminton.
I'm just messing. No. So really, I would say the start is when my childhood nickname into now is, first name Julius. So you can already guess what I was named after, Julius Irvin, right?
Yeah, so, the good doctor. Yes.
The good doctor. So that's just one of the nicknames of Dr. J, and kind of always growing up in sports, named after a legend like that. Played sports in high school, a little bit in college, football in particular, and did track. But favorite sports team and my sports really allegiance goes with the Cardinals. It was the Rams for football until Kroenke kind of did us.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that in detail, but I tell people all the time I'm also a fan of misery because I reverted back to my childhood football team, which was the Cowboys.
Woo, boo.
They suck.
I'm probably becoming more of a spectator than fan, but yeah. So,
Julius, listen, I was trying. So look, I'm a Royals fan, and so I'm originally from Little Rock. I cut my teeth in Northwest Arkansas, where the Naturals are. That's the Double-A affiliate of the Royals. And so long ago, it feels like now, I made friends with a few people who ended up winning the World Series in 2015. And so nothing special to say there. They don't remember me from a can of paint. But it was fun to just meet some of those people. Well, I say that. Some of them might. But either way, that's how I became a fan of the Royals. And I didn't realize that I didn't like the Cardinals until they started beating us again. And all of a sudden, I wasn't that big of a Cardinals fan. But y'all came back to start beating us again. We have our ebb and flow. But I'll tell you this: one of the very special things was just getting the opportunity to be outside of Busch Stadium, and some of the really cool things that are going on around y'all city is fantastic. How about you, Tera? You got a fandom story?
Of course, I am a diehard 49ers fan. I grew up on Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, and so that's just who I am. I've never been a sports player.
Okay.
But I love football. That is my sport. So yes.
That's terrific. Listen, and the fun part about being a fan and now as a sports broadcast journalist is you don't actually have to be good at the sport to do it. I didn't realize that, or I would have quit football a long time ago. I could have saved my knees and ankles a lot, but if I would have known I could tell the story without actually being good at it. But it's fun to be a fan. It's fun to watch. Now that I live in Baton Rouge, which I've been here a little over 6 years now, and I've been the road fan a lot lately. So in basketball, I'm a Clippers fan, and so there's the really cool thing about Baton Rouge is there's New Orleans, there's Houston, that's like 4 hours away. I'm going to Houston on Friday. There's Dallas, that's like 5 or 6 hours away. Memphis is like 5 hours away. So there's a lot of different places I can go and see my favorite team. But usually when I go, I even if I'm not looking at the court, I know if my team's doing well because everybody else is cheering, and then I start booing. So that's been way more fun than I expected it to be. But I definitely
hold on. Did you say Clippers?
No, here we go. Yeah. Listen, okay. All right. So I'll give you my fan story. My favorite player is LeBron. So for the first 10 years of his career, when anybody asked me who my favorite team was, I would say LeBron because it was Cleveland and then it was Miami. And then I didn't like the way I applauded him for going back to Cleveland. That was cool. He won a championship for his hometown. Outstanding. Dan Gilbert said some salacious things. The owner of the Cavaliers said some awful things about him when he left. And I wouldn't have disagreed except for that Dan Gilbert made it hard for LeBron to, in a world where there were if you remember this time, the Boston Celtics had their big team, and then the Lakers had a great team, and there were so many really good teams that were coming, and it was LeBron in Cleveland, LeBron and me and you playing on his team, and so to say those things, and after the opportunities that he had missed on to make sure that LeBron could submit his legacy, I thought was really, really poor show, and so I said I'm going to go across the country. As far as I can from Cleveland, and I'm going to be a Lob City fan. I think that'll be fun. I'm sure that won't backfire. I'm sure my favorite player won't go play on the rival team. And and I was wrong. So, but it's been fun. And like when as a Royals fan, I watched that team grow with the Royals, and I was rewarded with a championship. I'm a Steelers fan also. I watched that team go through the lulls and the lows, and I watched them become great, and I was rewarded with a championship. And I suppose at some point the Clippers are going to reward me with a championship. Maybe. I don't know for sure, but I hope so, because it's been tough sledding. And so But that's the fun part about being a fan. Again, is that you go through those lows and you kind of are rewarded. And it did not. They didn't like pay any when the Royals won the championship. Like I didn't get no extra money, or I didn't get any bills paid, or my kids didn't get higher grades or nothing. But it felt good for 15 minutes. I was like, oh, game 5. Hey, we won. Yay.
Yeah.
All right, back to real world. But for 10 minutes, I was happy. It was a good thing. So, I'll fight. I'll take another 10 losing seasons for them same 10 minutes of championship. And that's the beauty of sports to me. Like, I joked about it, but sports for a long time for me in my life was my saving grace. It kept me out of trouble, and it also kept me from having to go to Bible study every Wednesday. So it was it was a good deal. It worked for me. I enjoy Bible study now that I'm an adult, but when I was a kid, it wasn't fun having to read Deuteronomy every week. So
I should have played sports, so I was Bible study and choir rehearsal and all of those things every week.
My son is currently reading through the Bible, but he's reading it like on this YouTube animated thing, and so he just got out of Numbers.
It's hard.
Wow. That's a great read if you're ready to go to sleep. So
it is. Man.
So all right, let's get to why y'all are here and not just to laugh at my corny jokes. So tell me a little more about the covering. You're based in St. Louis. Again, we've kind of talked ad nauseum about the slogan, which I love. Tell me your starts, how you guys got going with the covering and everything with that.
Yeah, so the covering was created originally. So I'm a child welfare worker, and
yes, ma'am.
I was seeing our little babies get put into homes that they really didn't need to be in. I saw that the fathers were not at the table.
Yes, ma'am.
For whatever reason, their names weren't on the birth certificate. She didn't tell you that, the kids were about to be taken. And so the covering originally was designed to bring the children into a safety plan in a safety facility until we could do due diligence.
Okay.
But God spoke to me and said, you can't heal kids without healing the dads first.
Wow.
And so the covering became cover the men, cover the family. Just like you stated, husband, wife, kids,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if we can cover the dad, we can cover, the kids, we can cover the mothers, and we won't need all of these different women organizations because men will be in the place that they should be in.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes.
so after that, I started, trying to develop the program and noticed that there just wasn't any funding in men.
Wow.
That all the funding was going to women and children. And I would be like, hey, men need resources as well. Can we get some help? And they were like, kids are cute. So no. So I connected with one of my college professors who her mission was men who were targets of domestic violence. And I'm like, wow, is that something that even exists? And she was like, oh yeah, it exists. And so we combined our programs, and this whole domestic violence piece has really started to take shape. And so I brought Julius in, and he does well talking about men who are targets of domestic violence. And doing our research, we found that the paperwork isn't even appropriate. When men show up to the hospital beat up, one of the questions is, could you possibly be pregnant? So there's
wow.
not a lot of research in it. Men don't report because reporting that I'm being abused by a woman is emasculating and it's embarrassing. And when the guys get together, you can't tell your boys that you struggling at home. You got a lady at home that's beating you up. And so it has been a feat to support men who are in this situation.
Yeah, for sure. And just how I came in is similar to what you talked about as far as having a underserved community. So my background is predominantly military, right? And I was coming back from a deployment about 4.5, 5 years ago, and just kind of looking for kind of what can I be doing next, right? Getting into something that it's a little bit more satisfaction in coming out of war, right? And
Okay.
she brought up the idea and told me about the covering and told me about the issues that was plaguing us as far as men in general, especially black men. And I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, wait, what? The resources are not there? How many you said nationwide? Uh, so then I did my own research and I was just like, oh wow, this is true. So right then and there, I'm just an advocate of helping underserved communities. And I was just like, I have to find a way to help this. And I was just like, I'm on board. Whatever you
Awesome.
need, let's make it happen. Because it's definitely needed. And as a black male myself, I understand as far as a lot of those stigmas that come when it comes to becoming a man, right? And
Mhm.
what does that really mean in our community when sometimes the homes aren't always um two family, right, two parent household, right? And
Right.
that's what a lot of young men I find out struggle with, as far as been raised by mothers, right? But just trying to understand what is masculinity, what is being a man. How do I, now that I have my own seed, help my little ones? But then also, I never got actual, speaking from some of their perspectives, they may have
Sure.
never, right, got the help that they needed mentally, right? And so we definitely have the spiritual pillar, but it's just trying to really unravel all those layers,
There's a
right?
lot.
And then just start figuring out, okay, this is how we can start assisting. And just like she spoke to, I didn't even realize how big of a need this was in our community, but it is much needed. It
Yep.
is much needed.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
just had a fireman and his daughter killed by a woman. I guess it's been maybe a couple of months ago.
Wow.
She shot him and she shot his daughter, 15 years old, both of them in the head. No
Wow.
remorse, just whatever, jealousy, whatever. And women are as just as violent as some men, you know.
Sometimes more. Sometimes more. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. And it's calculating. Women are more calculating. They're more psychologically and emotionally abusive. And that's just not considered a crime,
Well,
but
you
it
know what?
leads up to a crime eventually.
So I've done security for the better part of 15, 20 years at this point. And I'm a big guy. I told you I play football. I'm 6'5". I'm nearly 400 pounds. Big fella. Guys I never have trouble out of fellas. It's the ladies. And not some big, girl that just got drafted in WNBA. It's she 4 foot nothing, 100 nothing, and biting at my ankles, ready to ready to have that. And it's like, and it's literally like, hey, you have got to stop. I've got to start right here. My son asked me about it the other day. This girl, and I met this girl before, nice girl, and we spoke. Decent conversation, no thought that this could be this person. I asked her to get off a table, and we had spoken several times during that night. And as my daddy called it, the Ignador took a hold of her, and before I knew it, I was gushing blood out of my face where she had kicked me in the face while I was trying to pick her up and get her off the table. Just amazing. Saw her again, had no recollection of it. So, but no, you're absolutely right. It's those crimes of passion get overlooked. The fellas don't want to talk about it. Like you said, I know I was just sending this share. I always like to share, the video, and I was sending it to my pledge brothers, and I know I couldn't tell them, just no way that I could tell them like, hey man, I need some help. Cause you know what I mean? The man in me the ego in me would never allow it. But it's absolutely, it happens every day, and it's a problem in itself. And another thing you talked about was the lack of remorse. These kids today don't understand that you are taking a life, and what it means for your life when you ruin your life by killing someone else, things of that nature. Just amazing. And as my pastor would say, it's all our fault. Me and you are to blame. My father would preach that sort of thing for years. You are to blame when the women aren't doing right and the kids aren't doing right, because we have to be taught. And I know it's a learning curve. I will give you that. We came up from some people came from different eras. I'm 41, so I'm in a. But I was raised by an older father, and so I was given a lot more wisdom than I knew what to do with. But hey, man, that's the thing, and that's why it's a good thing that we get the opportunity to have groups like y'all, and that you guys are raising funds for it. And so, speaking of raising funds, I think it's a perfect segue to talk about this Friday in St. Louis. If you're in the area, and even if you do have something to do, skip it and go to this. This is much more important. Or go to your thing later. But no, this is the reason I was able to find you guys. It was very, very cool to see this. I'm a big sports fan. I'm a big boxing fan. Tell me a little bit about this event and how you guys kind of got tied into doing the amateur boxing event.
Yeah, so like I said, there's not a lot of funding in men, and I wanted to put together an event that would attract men. So not a typical gala where we sitting there with a bunch of talking heads and dinner, some dried up chicken dinner. So I started attending like some amateur boxing nights. Somebody was like, well, go to this event. You might be interested. I can connect you to a promoter. And so I went to a couple events, and I was like, it was packed. Like one of them was standing room only, all girls, 18 matches, all girl fights. And so I was like, oh man, this is where the men are. This is what we need to do. And so I started putting this together with the promoter, and I was like, hey, let's do an amateur boxing night. Like St. Louis is a boxing city.
Yes, it is.
And so, they love it. So many people have been reaching out to me like, even fighters, I want on that ticket, so now we have a waiting list, they're hoping that people drop off the ticket so they can get on the ticket. But yeah, it's created so much momentum, and we're very excited about it.
It sounds like y'all gonna have to do it. Gonna have to change it from annual to semi-annual, or maybe monthly or something like that. That's awesome. But the promotional portion of it. My last episode was with a boxer that I actually helped produce their boxing podcast, and so but I first met him at an amateur boxing event, and oh my gosh, the amount of work, and I wasn't a promoter. I just was doing some broadcasting, but the amount of work that goes into these things, my gosh, God bless you. Everybody needs to show up to reward them for the work that they have done. I don't even know, but I know it's a lot.
Yes,
I know what goes into it. I know it's a lot. So, but no, absolutely a pleasure to get the opportunity to promote and be a part of it, man. It really is cool to see it, and it's a great fundraiser. I never would even thought about boxing events as a fundraiser, but again, just a shout out to y'all for this really great event that's happening Friday. So now I know there's a QR code. Is there anywhere else that people can buy tickets and or become a sponsor?
Sure. If it's someone local, they can buy tickets at the door, but they can also go to the website to learn more information about what we do at the covering, and also to become a donor or a sponsor. And the website address is www.coverthefamily.org.
Okay, very good. I was just looking at that as well. Coverthefamily.org. But yes, that's going to be a fun event. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I wish I would have known of it sooner to come and help broadcast it for those who may not be able to get to St. Louis. I love to watch boxing in general, and I would love to have seen this. So maybe for the second annual or the next event, you definitely give us a shout. We'll make our way up there. I've been itching to get back to St. Louis anyways. So tell us a little bit more. So I know you talked about getting into the from the child welfare was where you guys started, and how this kind of came about. Tell me any favorite stories, any people that have come through that that maybe you want to brag on or shout out during your time in working with the covering.
You want to talk about anybody?
I would say I necessarily don't have a favorite story yet.
Okay.
I think most of my stories just is overall just helping people break down those barriers, right? Seeing young
Hmm.
men and even older men start navigating this new world and kind of
Yeah.
having that light bulb of like, aha, I understand it. Plus, like,
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody helped me out. Because one of the big things that comes up a lot is the social media age, right?
Yep.
We talked about how we grew up. It's a lot different when it comes to young men and even older men and what they have to deal with, especially coming out of years of the Me Too movement, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
what that did. I tell people all the time, because sometimes they bring up all the time, you're in sports journalism, and it's the simple things as far as when someone's making a take, right? Sometimes that female, they can laugh and kind of do a brush on the
Yep.
shoulder and kiki, but it can't be reciprocal. Otherwise, it'll be a whole incident, right?
Trust me,
Um,
I've seen it. I've
so it's
seen
just
it.
like it's the little nuances that a lot of these men feel it, and it's just now with social media pressures of like, oh, I have to provide and be this person that's spinning, right? I gotta be able to fly you out, right? I gotta be able to show you this lifestyle that a lot of people aren't really portraying as the truth, but that's starting to weigh heavy on a lot of young men, and it's
Hmm.
how do am I a real man, right? Am I,
Yeah.
and then it causes a lot of resentment too, and breaking down those barriers and seeing just other men get in a room and just talk and be like, I thought I was the only one that
Yeah.
thought that was not right, and to
Yeah.
have that kind of bond that it starts bringing, I think that's pretty much that's one of the big highlights, I would say, because it it's really it's powerful when you see a group of men that come together in a productive way and trying to build each other up, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get that. I think last usually I didn't get that unless it was fraternity life, right?
Yep.
With frat brothers. Then it's just like
Yep.
you have that bond. So outside of situations like that, it's rare in our community,
It
right?
is. It is.
So
Sadly,
yeah.
sadly, it is. Especially, it's. And to be honest with you, even outside of us as African Americans, a lot of like men in general don't, and which is why the Me Too movement became what it was
Mm-hmm.
because the men were not taught when, where, how to be a man. A lot of men only knew the provisional portion, and we talk about that a ton, man. I would actually, I got a bunch of ideas spinning in my head, thinking about our men's ministry and how we can connect with you guys. But I mean, like that's something we talk about constantly is how to be a man. What is it to be a man? We're studying through books in our men's ministry and lots of things but I mean, I may be one of the youngest people in the men's ministry at 41. There's maybe I think 3 or 4 people that are under me, and most of them are 30. But there are 60, 70-year-old men who are not only passing down wisdom to us in the men's ministry, but also learning. By the same token, we all have had barriers that we've got to cross and break down and get by and put up as to how to function. And I think we all leave with the same sentence every time we leave the man cave is what we call it. Is man, I thought my wife was the only one. I thought my girl was the only one. I thought my life was. It's constantly, and so but no, it's amazing to see it and glad to have it. Just thinking about it. Do you guys have any plans going forward? Anything that you're planning? I know Friday's a big day, and then I think maybe I would give you Saturday and Monday to take a breather after after that. I know it's going to be a lot, but anything on the calendar after Friday?
Well, before we get to that question, I want to go
Yes,
back to
ma'am.
your other question.
Oh yeah, of course.
So Julius and I teach a class to men every quarter who are
Okay.
graduating from a fatherhood class.
Oh, I love that.
And yes, and so I go in as a woman and I talk to them about rape.
Mm-hmm.
When w- do you know if you are being raped? I talk to them about if you don't feel like it tonight and she forces herself on you, Is that rape? You know, some men laugh like, hey, I'm okay with it. But some men are like the light bulb comes on, right? Because they just, you know, they don't understand. And then I talk to them about protecting their seed. We
Mm-hmm.
go through a little project where here's your tomato plant and here's your seed.
Wow.
How are you, when you working with your tomato plant, you making sure you nurturing it, you keeping weeds off of it, you making sure it's got a good environment to grow. Are you doing the same thing with your seed? Or are you planting your seed in wildflowers? Let's talk about that. You
Yeah.
know, or are you okay with having this lady for the rest of your life, you know, as your child's mother? Are
Mm.
you okay with that? You know, what are you guys doing? Your seed is your legacy. So talking to them about, it's not about how many, you know, you can have, it's
Right.
about the quality, and it's
Right.
about protecting your legacy. Like, it's not cute to have 7 babies over here, your whole check is gone to child support. That's not cute.
It's
You know, so
expensive. That's what
let's,
that is.
yeah. And so this information coming from me as a woman, they like,
Mm.
man, no woman has ever talked to us like this or about this before. But I want them to understand that just like she's protecting her eggs, you need to be protecting your seed. Everybody's not worthy of your seed, you
That's
know.
right.
And so we go through that project, and I make them switch their tomato plants, and it might be somebody who don't even like you, so he over there pouring bleach in your tomato plant so it don't grow. And I say, so the man that your child's mother is with, she might not like you. He's
Wow.
poisoning your kid. Are you okay
Wow.
with that? Are you okay with that? And so, you know, it's a whole experience for them, because I want them to understand that this is serious. You
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
it's not cute to just keep having babies and not being responsible for them. Like, get yourself together. I keep talking about them. In my last class, one guy, was the lady had run him over, and she brought him to work he brought him to class that day. And I'm like, are you okay with that? He was like, well, I made her pay, you know, I cashed out on her insurance policy. Okay, well, you could go to jail for that because you still with her. You know, so let's talk about this. It's not okay for somebody to hit you with a car. It's
Right.
not. And the class, you would think it would just be young people, but I've got 60-year-olds in this class.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, you know, it is so important that we start pulling these men in and really having like serious conversations. It's time out for just having these little basic conversations. Let's have some real
Real.
conversations about this, you
And
know.
and I would just add on to that, as far as definitely when I come into class, I'm big with men becoming advocates for themselves in the legal
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
system.
Mm-hmm.
Also have a legal background, and it's just like, you know, you can be the first one to report that, right? You don't have to wait. Like, if that incident happened, you be the first one. You beat them to the police report. We got to get out of all this. Well, this code, this law, this, like, the legal system don't work like that, right?
Right.
And we already understand that it's already skewed, right?
Yeah, you're
So
absolutely
it's
correct.
skewed not in your favor. So let's make sure, and you'll find yourself even more upset. Like, how did I get in this situation? I should have. I call myself. No, like, just like you got to protect that. Like, you can report. You need to legally make sure you're doing everything you can to, if you want to be there in your kids' lives and be that man and be that fam, like, do what you have to do
That's right.
legally and advocate for yourself. I know that's big with people breaking down that barrier of just like, oh, well, you know, I'm not supposed to. No, say something.
Say something.
Say
You gotta
something.
say something. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
Yeah.
start reporting it. They'll stop doing it, you know. And this really leads us to your next question, you know,
yes.
what's happening moving forward with the covering. So we've just finished rehabbing our emergency housing for men, because
Okay.
right now, if the police is called for a DV situation, more than likely he's going to be removed, whether he's the perpetrator or the victim, you know.
Wow.
And right now they're only giving them a 1 night voucher for the hotel, for a hotel room. Well, we know we can't get you together in 1 night.
No.
So the covering has created the first respite house for men in Missouri,
Okay.
the Lighthouse. which, we are probably opening up within the next couple of months, where when the police is called and he doesn't have anywhere to go, they can contact us. We can put him up for a week or up to 30 days until
Mhm.
we can try to get him, stable.
Right.
So
Man,
we
that's
will be the
amazing.
first in Missouri, but the third in the country. So there's
Yeah.
not a lot. There's no safe houses strictly for men. They're all
I,
for women.
I was just about to ask. I'm sure there's 100 around the block for women, which rightfully so. Let me not put any
Right.
shade or
We don't
slight.
want to downplay
Right.
abuse on women. That's
Right.
not it. We're not saying that doesn't exist. It
Right.
clearly does, but it also exists for men.
Right.
Yeah, on the opposite end. Yeah, yes, ma'am. For
Absolutely.
both sides. But that's really, really cool. Gosh, I'm just thinking so much about it, but that's amazing. Just amazing to think about. And what's ironic is I worked in hotels for a long time. And so the number of times that I've seen actual, women that have come in, and then there were a few times when the men came in, and again, it was just as a place of like, hey, you need some space to
Yes.
get away and to have those conversations where they could breathe and relax and not be in, because you're kind of just left with it. Even if the woman is removed, you're still kind of in that moment, and it's just a stigma that's there, and it's hard to get it out, especially in that time frame. So great to have that for the home. That's terrific. That's really terrific. For those of you who are joining, certainly glad you finally jumped in. Tera Heron, am I saying that right? The
Yes.
last name Heron and Julius Ivory of the covering are joining us. Terrific to have you guys with us. I am now. I gotta check my notes because I've gotten I've gotten so off beat. Just kind of excited that I know I get excited at the thought of things because you're right. There's so little for the man, and then we sit and wonder why our country feels like it's going backwards. It's pretty simple to see that when the head's being put at the tail, you're gonna go in circles.
Yes.
But no, definitely a pleasure to have you guys with us. Anything else you're thinking of? Anything on the calendar? While I check my notes.
Well, we don't have anything else on the calendar. We're thinking about a fishing derby for Father's
Okay.
Day. So,
Okay.
because I believe in teaching a man how to fish, how to be self-sustaining. That's why we're doing gardening with them. If you don't have money, I expect you to be able to go fish, go plant you some tomatoes, some collard greens. I'm a master gardener, so I believe in growing my own food. And I want to teach men how to live off the land. It's time. We do have to, these things that we have put to the side because grocery stores have been just around the corner, but we're in a place where things are super expensive. And if
Yes,
we can
ma'am.
grow some things, let's do that.
Listen, that's been, there have been, Killer Mike was, I think, the first person that I heard, the rapper out of Atlanta, was the first person I heard that talked about, hey, we've got to sustain ourselves as a people, as a community. But, with the way the prices are going, with the way that they're growing and raising things,
Yes.
the safety is almost gone in everything that we're doing. But moreover, look, listen, it's a job still, even though some of the farming has got pulled because of certain policies that have been enacted. We still have an opportunity to take care of ourselves. You have a trade. That's a brilliant idea. And look, there's fish everywhere. There's something to eat. And there's something, and then you can get something to make money off of from the end. So no, definitely awesome to see that. Do you fish as well?
I do with my son.
Okay.
So he's definitely I would like to say he's more experienced than me.
He caught 6 fish today.
But I'm supportive. I'm supportive, and I will be out there with him trying. You know what I mean? My hardest. But he's definitely the Bass Pro fisherman. But yeah, fish.
Yeah.
I feel like I talk too much and I talk the fish away, but I enjoy being there and just chatting with friends, which that was a blast. But I am with you, Julius. I am not the fisher type. I don't know if there's a green thumb for fishermen, but I don't have it. That's that's for sure. But no,
Oh man, that's good.
Well, it looks like I think I got everything in, which I'm very excited about. So before we go, one last time, let's talk about the Fight Night event. Friday night, April the 17th. The doors open at 5. The show will start at 6, and a show it will be. If you're in the boxing, it's definitely a pleasure. It's gonna be a good time. Be careful. She's gonna throw you in there next, Julius. Listen, I took a few boxing classes and I was really, really good until they started letting the other dude punch back.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna look like one of those episodes of Martin.
That's when I realized again that you don't have to be good at it to talk about it. I'll tell you all about boxing. I won't be doing much of the boxing. But no, it's going to be an outstanding time. Friday night, the Polish Heritage Center over on 20th Street in St. Louis. So if you are in the surrounding areas, East St., Champaign, listen, it's worth the drive from Detroit. This is it. And if you can't make it, hit that QR code at the bottom and buy tickets for somebody else who does want to go and can't go. Absolutely. Or just donate and become a sponsor. This is an event that's worth it. If it's just a jumping jack competition, this is worth it. Help save our men, save our families, yes. Please. Yes. Probably better put would be to cover our men. And yes. Indeed cover our families. So definitely a blessing and a pleasure to have y'all on. We'll be talking very soon. I'm actually headed to choir rehearsal after this as soon as we get done. And so I'm going to chat with my pastor about any plans for our men's day, which usually in the fall. And we definitely will be in touch with you for that. Any parting words before we go?
Any parting words?
Just really just support. As you can see, we aren't one of those organizations that's just talk. We have tangible results. So your money and your support is definitely going to helping men out, helping those families out, and just understanding that this is a problem that we all can help together, come together and help fix, and just be an advocate, man. Be an advocate for yourself, for your family, and for your legacy.
That's beautiful.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine to have y'all with us. I've learned plenty, that most importantly, that I am not pregnant. And so
thank God for that.
Right. Yeah. That'd be another set of issues that we'd have to worry about. Do have some questions about the R word that I need to explore. But yes, very much. No, a pleasure. Pleasure to have y'all on. A pleasure to hear your story and to see what's next. Look, you got one fan. If you don't have anything else, you got. I am a fan, a supporter, a booster, a sponsor. You name it. I'm one call away, one Facebook message away. So if there's anything I can do, y'all are in the family, the Fanatic Sports family. So whatever I can do for you, let me know. I am.
Well, good. I want to talk to you about our radio show. We lost our producer, our manager, the Men's 911 show. So yes, I do need to talk to you about that.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. We definitely will be talking. Well, thank you again, Julius, Tera. Can't say thank you enough for y'all joining. And for everyone that's watching tonight on the Fanatic Sports Podcast, I'm sure you are all as blessed as much as I was. And if you weren't, go back and watch it again. You wasn't paying attention. As I always say, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Thank y'all for watching episode 71 of the Fanatic Sports Podcast. I'm your man, Blocky. Y'all have a great night.